cold. We crack codes, we break molds. It's all gold, it's so cold, it's no holds.
What's up, everybody? My name is Jeremy Duran, and this is the No Holds Podcast. Man, we about to kick it off. Isn't that right, guys?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir, man. We got the one and only, the man that can bench everything. If you go to the gym, he takes all the gains. So you pretty much go there and you get nothing out of it.
You got me confused with him.
Nah. We have Prince Kim.
Yes, sir.
We have the dude with the camera over here. He takes amazing pictures. Same way, though. He takes all the gains, too. So when I go work out with him, it's like I don't get anything. We got Gil Loya here. We got my boy over here, Andre Campbell. He's been on it before. Actually, these three have actually all been on it before. But this dude right here is a stud, man. Don't let him deceive you by the way he looks, the way he dresses. He's a stud, man. No, but the new guy here, Yubin Kim.
Yes, sir.
I'm excited for him to be on here. How old are you?
18.
18.
Yes, sir.
18 years old.
18.
Yes, sir. 18.
Almost like me.
Almost.
These are questions I haven't asked y'all.
Okay.
None of y'all.
Yeah.
But would you rather be at war with yourself and at peace with the world, or at war with the world and at peace with yourself?
Man, that's a tough one.
That is a
tough
deep
one.
one. I think I'd say neither.
That's hard.
Neither.
If
Huh?
I,
Neither, yeah.
But if you had to choose one, though.
I think I'd want to have peace with myself.
Yeah, that's
me
what I was going to
too.
say.
I mean, that's how we're
Peace
living
with
right
yourself,
now.
but
Because I
still,
think war with yourself is way harder than at war with
Exactly.
the world. Because you can drown that out. But yourself, you still got to go home with yourself at the end of the day.
Yeah.
That's fact. That's true. That's how a lot of people live right now. I mean, with depression, that's at war with yourself. And then you
That
can see
ain't
how
no
that
lie.
turns. So
That's good.
I'm with him. I'd rather be at peace with myself.
Yeah,
Yourself. Peace
I would
with
do peace
yourself.
too, yes, sir.
All right. One thing you want to change in your life this year. Which I don't remember if I asked y'all this or not.
No, we didn't.
No, you didn't ask me this. You got it, Yubin.
Honestly, I was thinking of it.
There you go.
Getting closer to the Lord, going to church more.
Amen, brother.
Because
Yeah.
I have recently with
Yeah,
him.
recently
Past couple weeks.
taking him with the Bible church next to the gym, actually,
Yeah.
with Randy Zellner. He's a good friend of ours at the dunk shop, so
Nice.
that's awesome.
Yeah, I like it. It's really fun, and you learn a lot. And yeah, I want to keep going towards it and trying to pursue it, I guess.
Yeah.
It's good.
Yes,
I
sir.
feel like right now, especially, I feel like a lot more people should.
Mhm.
Considering the direction that a lot of things outside of us
Yes, sir.
is going.
Yeah.
It's not a bad thing to have, and I talked about it in my podcast, that little toolbox, it's not a bad tool to have because it comes in handy. It really does, especially referring back to that, being at peace with yourself and at war with the world. That's a big tool right there that'll help you in that situation, I feel like.
Yeah.
It's good.
Sure.
I think one thing that I've been focusing on for my life is being a better father and being a better husband.
Okay.
So that's something that I want to continue to keep pursuing this year and for the rest of my life. And not carrying generational things on with me.
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
That's a good
That's
one
good.
right there, man.
I love that.
What about you, Jeremy?
I'm waiting on
Jeremy.
Prince. I'm waiting on Prince. No, we went like this.
Yeah, you're right.
We're making a star here.
All right. I mean, I'm with Andre I'm not a husband or father yet, but I want to keep improving in everything. I want to be a lifelong learner, what people say.
That's good.
In my faith, in weights and reading books, my mind, I want to be a lifelong learner. And it starts this year. This year is when I really implemented, I'm going to get better every day. I'm going to learn something every day. So I'm going to start that, and I have started it this year. And like Andre said, I want to do that forever.
Yeah.
You know. So.
And but you're already doing it too because you got your brother on the right track. You know.
I mean, yeah,
No,
it's vice
sure.
versa too. You know.
Yeah.
So.
And then like you were talking about earlier, you know, you talking to your older brother, kind of encouraging him and pushing him, like, dude, that's good.
That's
like,
great. I
yeah.
mean, so you know.
Love it.
Yes, sir.
I love it. How would you want your loved ones to remember you?
I'll jump on that when I say a person that's being a great leader.
Mm.
You know, because just to piggyback on what you were just saying, you said you want to always keep learning. I sent Jeremy a text not too long ago, and a quote that I seen was, "A reader is a leader."
Oh,
Yeah, that's big fact.
Man, that's
Yes.
I was like, dang, because I hate to read.
That's how I was
Yeah.
too.
Are we talking about
Hey,
audiobooks
man.
too?
Yeah.
That's my thing.
Ebooks now as books. People don't
Exactly.
realize it.
You're
It
still
counts as
reading.
You're still reading.
That
Yes.
boy, John Gunther reads a lot.
Hey,
Audiobooks.
you gotta get with me.
Audiobooks like that. Yes. And
Oh,
and
I
I
love
think
books
yeah,
now.
I think that helps though. Like it.
Oh, it definitely does. I feel like you get more retention when you listen to it. Though.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, everyone's got their own way, but
Oh,
that's
yeah.
big
Yeah.
fact. So
Mhm.
a reader is a leader.
I do like that though, man. Reader
Yes.
is a leader, man. Write that down, though.
Yeah.
That's gonna go on my next post.
Yeah.
Who's next? Gil, you next?
Can you repeat it? I kind of forgot.
Yeah,
What do you want?
How would you want your loved ones to remember you?
Man, I think I touched on this on my podcast as the guy that I am now than the guy that I was before. But I feel like also you should always continue that improvement, you know. So you can't actually just say the guy that I am now. What about the guy that I'm gonna be? You know, also.
Yes.
So I think that's what I'm gonna go with.
Yeah, I'm gonna go back to what I said even before. I want them to remember me as a lifelong learner. Like
Mm-hmm.
I want my and friends and y'all, just anyone in general, would be like, no matter his situation, his adversity that he faced, he still, you know, even if I got better this much in a year, I mean that's still progress.
Mhm.
Like I want everyone to remember that it's possible to improve this much, no matter your situation.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so
That's good.
yeah. And it starts by reading books. I
Reading
told you on
books.
the podcast. I've been reading a lot
I
of
know.
books, man.
Yeah.
That's
and
good.
that stuff changes you.
Yeah,
Man,
definitely.
I need to jump on it.
Yeah, man. I'll hook you up. I got some advice.
Read it all. But it's hard.
Yeah.
It is, but you know, I feel like we make. I don't know about y'all, but I feel like in myself, I make more excuses when it comes to stuff like that. Like, man, I don't got time.
Yeah.
But then I go to the gym for like an hour and a half.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
like,
that's true.
come on.
That's
dude.
true.
You know, you always got time. You always got time, especially when it comes to learning and improving yourself. You know, for like you said, for your kids
Mm-hmm.
and
Yes.
just for the people around. You
Yeah.
know, like I feel like I've been around a new set of people. You know, you guys and these two guys behind the scene here, and man, I feel like I've just grown. I mean, when I'm around, I try to turn into a sponge and I just try to soak it all in.
Oh, I thought you were gonna keep going.
Yeah, yeah.
I was, but I didn't.
There was like no period at the end. It was just like
It was a comma and then throw the torch to somebody.
Yeah, I don't want to interrupt or nothing. Yeah, you've been.
I'll go ahead. The loved ones, right? How they remember me.
Yeah.
That I was really just there for them when they needed it, and like, I mean, just whenever. But I want them to remember that I cared for them and loved them, and yeah, those are the two main things. I just want them to know that I loved them and cared for them whenever, just throughout their life, when they had hard times or when they didn't. Just so yeah, I think that's good.
Love that. Yeah, I like that. Who is your hero and why?
Oh, I can go. It's my dad, like without
Yeah.
a doubt.
Yeah.
He just works so hard every day. No complaining. Just,
Yeah.
And
It's
he does
okay.
it for all of us.
It's
you know?
okay to cry.
Yeah,
we can get you some
kinda-
tissue.
Yeah,
No, I
no,
get kind
no.
of emotional because
Do it,
it's
man.
crazy.
Yeah.
That's what we're here for.
no holds.
That's what
And
we're
no
here for.
holds, and not only that, like
Yeah.
people
Get
think
it.
that
Yeah.
You know, men don't like. No, real men cry,
Yeah.
and they'll cry in front of their friends, in front of their family. Like
Yeah.
it's not a weakness. I think to me, it's more of a strength, man.
Yeah.
Like
Strong vulnerable.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
is it a weakness if I cry off of Netflix now?
no,
Okay.
because do it.
Science
Do
has
it.
proven that if you cry during movies, man, it means you're a really strong person.
No.
There you go.
Thank you, sir.
And your wife would appreciate it as brownie points.
That's a plus. Yeah.
Yeah, dude. You know, talking about that after hearing Prince's
Yeah.
podcast, man, like, you know, I was like, yeah, man, I like that, man. I really do. I like that story about your dad. That's really good.
Yeah, it came a long way. Like,
Yeah.
a long way. It's crazy.
That's awesome. And I got to meet their dad.
Yeah, you
I
actually
talked to him,
like,
man. He's
after the
yes.
podcast.
Oh, after?
After
Yeah,
we
he
got
came and he's like,
together.
"Can I talk to your dad?" I was like,
to
"Yeah."
Yeah.
He's
Man.
back there.
He's
back there helping make donuts,
Yeah,
huh?
yeah. I'm back there.
Put them to work.
Yeah, I mean,
He makes them
doing
like
all
that.
this stuff.
But
Built
man,
muscle.
yes, I know. Look at.
Oh,
that,
yeah.
man. But no, just talking to him, man, you can
Yeah.
definitely tell, dude. He loves you guys so much, and
Yes,
just
sir.
you can see his heart, and he's a jokester too. I like
Yeah.
that about your dad. Like
Yeah.
he's a jokester, but
He did
So
say
awesome.
something. He tried joking with you. I forgot what he
I know.
said.
He
I
said
don't-
something else.
I forgot what
I was
he
trying to
said.
remember it too. What did
I
he
think he roasted me. He's saying like, "Yeah,
I
my
mean,
sons are good, except that one."
Yes. That's what it
My
was.
sons are good.
It's like, man, your sons are awesome. Like you raised some amazing.
Yeah,
sons.
yeah,
And
you
he was
said
all,
that.
And he was all. I think he said not that one. Or,
Yeah,
I
he
can't
said- he
remember.
pointed at me. He's like,
not
except that
not
one. I was
Oh,
like,
man.
But
I
yeah,
know.
he smiled when he said.
Yeah,
it.
he
It's
was
like,
playing.
man.
"No, I'm playing. I'm playing."
No, but no, your dad is awesome, man. He's
Yeah.
awesome man.
Yes, sir.
I mean, yeah, I'll say my dad as well, because growing up in those situations, you realize like how much he has sacrificed. And if I had to rank them or whatever, like he is number one, but I've also had so many other role models in my life that have put me where I'm at right now. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
That's good.
Yep.
I say I haven't met this man personally, so if you listening to this, TD Jakes, you are a beast.
Yeah.
You are like, man, everything that your transition into every generation, you're like your style, you know, the way how you can switch over to dad mode, you know, to pastor mode. Like, I just, man, I was listening to you since I was a little kid and still to this day. So, man, like, that's a great role model for me.
That's great.
Yeah, no, I like listening to him.
Mm-hmm.
Very good. Very, very good.
Man, I don't know that I just have just one.
Yeah, it's hard.
And I feel like just in the last few months, I've just been surrounded by, you know, God puts people in your life at a time for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
And man, these last few months, man, He's really been putting some really good people, you know, a lot of the people in this room in my life. And man, I feel like a lot of you guys are role models. Jeremy, I mean, it's crazy to think back that it started with you got a story to tell. You know, ever since you said that to me, it's always been just kind of burned in my head. And I sometimes think, you know, when we're at the gym and we talk about podcast ideas, I'm just like, dude, I just think like, man, you got a story to tell. And everybody has a story to tell.
Yeah.
That's
But I feel like what you don't realize is that your story can do so much big out there.
Mm-hmm.
People listening. Because there's people going through the same thing that we've already been through. You know, they just don't know it. And they're listening to the story and they're like, oh, wait a minute. Like, this dude's talking about me right now.
Yeah.
And, you know, I feel like I've had some people put in my life that have helped me to become better. And not even help me, but make me want to be better, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man. So, you know, just the people that have been in my life recently.
Nice.
That's good.
I like it. I like it. Man. Sorry, I had to get some water, guys. I had to get some water. We about to kick it off now.
Yeah.
That was just the intro.
Uh-huh.
I'm excited.
That was just the intro. No, there was another guy who was supposed to be here, Joey Holguin. You the man, bro. Maybe next time. Love to have you back on here and get your kind of perspective on things. But man, well, I just wanted to get with you and just talk about everything that's going on. You know, there's the Asian hate. There's also the when the verdict came out with George Floyd. You know, that dude, the cop. I just want to kind of get y'all's perspective. You know, y'all's opinions on all this, and maybe since then, if y'all have even dealt with anything, you know, like maybe hate towards you guys, or I don't know, you know, just kind of see where it goes. I know you said you had some questions. You said there was also questions you kind of wanted to ask too a little bit, but
I have some stuff. You can go first.
Yeah. Okay. So we have a different races in here and different backgrounds, and so like I always wondered. Well, would y'all agree with this at first? Like when you get made, everyone's been ridiculed or made fun of at some point in life. It's like a defense mechanism to kind of like joke back or laugh at yourself.
Yeah,
Right? A lot of people do that, right?
Yeah,
So I feel like I've done that when people make Asian jokes, because I'll speak on that even more. I'm like, yeah, so and so, blah, we do blah blah blah. You insert the stereotype or whatever. But I've always felt, and I still feel this way. I don't know about as much now because of the movement with the Stop the Asian Hate, but Asians have been the punching bag of racist jokes since like I don't know. Yes, y'all can speak upon y'all's side, and every race has stereotypes and been made fun of, but it's more acceptable in society to make fun of Asian people. Like I don't, and why is that? Like, I want to hear y'all's opinions. Like, because I know I've been made fun of, and I'll kind of make fun of myself in like a defense mechanism sort of thing, because you're like, but deep down you're kind of like, dang, these guys are after these Asian people. Like,
yeah.
What do y'all think?
For me, I really believe that it's the I can't think of the word, perception, if that's the right word, of not even knowing what the culture is about.
Yes.
And, you know, like that can go for any culture. Like, I feel like that, like you said it just right, you know, like, it is like a mechanism, you know, like just to say something like that. And I believe social media doesn't help out at all.
No. Yeah.
But I think when you get to know a culture and know how they function and how they do things, I feel like that you won't be throwing those different jokes out there, because you know that these sensitive things might offend them.
Yes.
You know, and I just feel like a lot of people joke because they, you know, they only hear what's going on the media, or they only hear what's going on in society. So you can, and if you really pay attention to like the jokes that they throw towards like the Asian community, majority of them are the same.
Yes.
Because you really don't know the culture. But when you know the culture, you would realize, okay, yeah, maybe I might not say that.
Yeah.
You know, so that's what I think is, it's the ignorance.
Yes. Ignorance. That's a good word.
Also, exactly what I was going to say. It's the maturity, you know. I mean, because back then, when you're younger, I mean, everybody kind of makes fun of everybody just because we're kids.
Yes.
But even as we get older, you start to realize, like, okay, maybe I shouldn't say that anymore. But some people are just so stuck in that same mindset that they were back then in elementary. Is like, it's not going to hurt them. Might as well just do it anyway. So to me, it's more like, yeah, it's your maturity. You know, where are you at? You're like, man, we're not in high school anymore. You know, we're not in junior high anymore. Like, we're grown. Like, I'm not out here trying to hurt anybody. But I mean, to me, that's kind of what it is, maturity. Yeah. You know, I don't feel like they're not mature enough.
I think it also has to go a lot with the comfort zone. You know, when you hang out, like, for example, my best friend growing up through school into high school, he was black. So you know, a lot of times you say stuff and you don't even know,
Mhm.
but because you're friends with him, you just in your mind you think that it's acceptable.
Mhm.
And
That's true.
you know, looking back on it now, you're kind of like, hey, really said some things back then.
Yeah.
man.
Yeah.
But you know, and at the same time, I feel like, and this kind of goes both ways too. I think the banter back and forth, it's kind of becomes acceptable within the group as well, because it goes back and forth with your friends. You know, like Jeremy said, when you're little growing up, whatever, you kind of don't know any better. You're just trying to be funny, whatever. And I think it becomes acceptable, and at that point, it becomes easier to talk like that because you're like, well, my friend's black and he's never said nothing to me about it, or my friend's Mexican and when I say Mexican jokes, he laughs, so it must be okay to say. But you know, like you said, when you get home or whatever, you're like, man, hold up, that kind of hurt. Like that's supposed to be my friend, and I feel like a lot of things that I've said, just me personally, growing up, probably were taken that way, and I'm just like, but you know, I feel like it becomes culturally acceptable because oh, you know, my friends are Asian, so I can crack an Asian joke. Or because Andre's black and we hang out and do circles, I can crack a black joke every now and then. Or
and to kind of go off of that, I'm just gonna ask a question. Like, say you did joke around. Say y'all are really good friends.
Yes.
And he offended you. Would you go up and tell him, say, hey, I didn't like that? Or
back
would you,
then or now?
I'm talking about. Okay, I'm talking about now. Like, what'd you say now? Like, hey, man, I didn't like the way you did that, or I didn't like what you told me. Like, I don't like joking around. Like, would you tell him that, or would you
Right
keep
now?
Yes.
See, in the past, like I've done what you said, where you joke around with like I have on the football team. We had tons of different races. We joke back and forth, and then I mean, there were times where I really didn't mind. It depends on like really what you said, I guess, because there are those certain stereotypes, like Andre said, I've heard a million times, and they don't even affect me at this point.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of like, I don't even need to go. But if it really truly did like hurt me, maybe he says something like, I don't even know honestly. But if you said something to the point where it was like eating at me, I'd probably be like, hey man, like so and so, and I mean vice versa too.
Yeah, and that's another thing too, is like just like he said, we get so comfortable with each other that we don't know if we're actually hurting each other or encouraging each other. So it's kind of a thing like, man, maybe I should say something. Like if he hurt me, like if that hurt that bad, like I didn't like the way you did that, or I didn't like the way what you told me, like that was bad. So it's just kind of, I don't know, it's just a kind of question that and you know, with you being young,
Yes,
you're in homeschool now, right?
oh yes, I'm pretty much done almost.
Well,
like,
yeah,
in
you're
a couple weeks.
yes, sir, yeah. So back when you were in school, like how was that towards you, the joking and everything?
Oh yeah, it happened, but it's always happened really, like elementary school, middle school, high school. But it was nothing like crazy. Like I would come home super depressed or something. It wasn't ever like that. It was always just like
because it becomes acceptable, right?
Yeah, because it's like I hear it so much. It's like,
would you ever just open, like kind of like I was telling him, like how would you deal with it now? Like say one of your best friends went up to you, and the only reason I'm asking you is because you're still in high school, so
different era.
Yes.
Yeah.
So how would you deal with that now? Because a lot of kids, or not kids, students, teenagers, man, like they get so depressed nowadays, and which I understand. They just have a lot to deal with, and everything is just at their fingertips, you know. So how do you deal with that now?
now if like my friend was to say something, it like the same thing as what he said. It kind of depends what it is, because it could be something super small, like that doesn't really affect me, but it could be something really big that could like hurt me forever.
But it could be that day.
That's true.
It's just not that day for you, and something little. So let's put it in that perspective.
So if I was like not feeling,
say you're not. You woke up and you're just like,
if I'm not in the mood, like if I'm not feeling good, I probably would say something. And I probably would if I wasn't feeling good or just, it wasn't the right day, you know. But,
because I know sometimes we just it can be hard for us to be like, man, hey Gil, like I don't know if it's intimidation or if it's just I don't know. It's like, man, why'd you call me this for?
Yeah,
you know. And
I think sometimes as friends too, though, it's harder to bring that up. You know?
Yeah.
I think it's harder because you're just like, I mean, do I really want to go there? And but I feel like sometimes it does need to be addressed, though.
And it depends on the friendship, like you said, like you have. Like, are we really that close of friends? to where I can go up to you, or are we just more of just, hey, I see you here and there, so I'm not even gonna bother.
I think you hit it right on the head right there. Because I think a lot of people, you don't really.
Go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, you good.
I feel like a lot of people, they're not around each other enough. You know, you only see them in passing or when you're at church or at circles, and you're probably not gonna say something to him because you're gonna say, well, he probably just doesn't know any better. But I feel like when you're close friends and you do hang out, you know, quite a bit, you should know that level, and there should be a quote unquote line in the sand that shouldn't be crossed.
Yeah.
Right? I mean,
What would you guys say?
No, just I think the reason why, you know, we might not say anything because it might create like a awkwardness.
Yeah. That's what I was gonna say too.
You know, like, and once you create that awkwardness, you know, like you're basically kind of like defriending yourself away from that person because y'all are on a high. Man, that's like my boy. That's like my good friend. And then once he offends you and you say something, it's like, okay, man, maybe I might not have this friendship anymore.
Yeah.
Well, you know, at the same time though, and I'm sorry.
No.
At the same time, I feel like if those boundaries aren't set, then it's kind of like we never spoke about that.
Yes, sir.
But I mean, who really does that though? Nowadays, right?
Especially guys.
Especially guys.
That's what I was gonna say about what you said. Real men don't cry. These norms, societal norms. Real men don't talk about their feelings.
Yeah.
What do you mean? So you're trying to talk about your feelings.
Yeah.
You're not a man. That's what we're told. And
Yeah.
so that goes along with it too. We're like told since a little kid, you better be tough. You better keep those feelings inside. So I think that's a problem.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's the way you're raised, you know. I mean, it's just, I know the way I was raised. If I got hit or something, you better not cry. You better not cry.
I'm gonna give you something to cry.
Yeah.
Don't cry.
And you can see that even nowadays, not as much, but back then for sure it was just like, you better not cry. You better not cry.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what it's kind of.
Yeah, that's how
Yeah.
we were. I'm sure y'all too. I mean, that's like how our generation kind of works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So do you think nowadays people are just too sensitive?
Dang, now we're getting into the good
Yeah.
stuff. Dang.
Man,
Y'all go first.
I'll be honest. I feel like yes. I feel like and I mean, y'all know my story, you know, with the way I grew up and the discipline, and yeah, I didn't, you know, it did things to me mentally and emotionally, but at the same time, I look back and I think like, I didn't really turn out that bad. I've never been to jail. I've never had those bracelets on for any reason. I mean, I feel like I'm doing good in life, you know, aside from my few mistakes that I've made. Some of them are pretty big, you know, as far as my kids are concerned. But I do feel like the spanking of the kids, I feel like that's a good thing to a certain extent.
Yes,
I mean, you know, there has to be a boundary. Like I said, there has to be that line in the sand when it comes to that as well. But I feel like when you look at generations, like for example, us three probably came from the generation of being spanked. I don't know how you guys.
Yeah,
Well,
I
I won't call it
remember.
spanked. I call it abuse.
That's what we're saying.
I didn't want to say that. But yes.
Hey, mama, you beat me down, mama.
If you're watching this,
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
911.
Yeah.
I need to report it.
Years ago.
But yeah, man, I just feel like it was different for us back then compared to what these kids are getting now.
Yeah.
And I mean, you can see it in some kids. Let's be honest, there are some spoiled brats out there.
Yes.
And they're just like adults now. And I feel like just when I look at my kids, the way that they're being grown up or brought up, excuse me. Yeah, you know, my kids wear name brand stuff. Like it's hard for you not to, right? As a dad, it's hard for you to be like, I can't get him a Nike or Under Armour or some Jordan 1s. like the host is wearing here. But you know, at the same time, I feel like at the same time, you have to think about it like this. Do I really want to create this little monster? And do I want him to be spoiled? Do I want him to teach? Do I want to teach him that this is where this comes from? You know, because later on, when they leave the nest, somebody else is going to have to deal with them, just like they had to deal with me. And I look back and I'm like, man, you know, some of the people in my past will tell you that I wasn't the easiest to deal with. So I feel like that has to be one thing that needs to be looked at as well.
Yeah.
In that respect.
I think every parent is different. You know, I think getting your kids those name brand things, those Jordans, like, to me, how I was raised, I feel like back in the day, I would say, man, that's spoiled. That's, you know, like, that's rotten. But I look at it now and say, man, that's a blessing.
It is.
Like, because there's a lot of kids, especially, you know, how I was raised and where I came from, they don't have the opportunity to get those things.
Yeah.
You know, I remember having shacks, you know, and making sure those shacks, they increase.
Oh, shit.
You know, like,
Yeah.
though, you know, like, I just feel like, you know, and do I feel like kids are soft? To me, I feel like this is a different generation that we are raising kids in. And I feel like this is a generation that these kids should be more at a grace because of everything that is going on these days. And I don't feel like the kids, you know, too much are soft. I feel like that the parents can make them soft and cripple them.
Yeah.
But I feel like that this generation is more of needing love than anything else.
Embrace.
Big.
Embrace it,
Big.
yes.
That's big.
Because, you know, we all probably grew up in a generation that it was, you know, I know we were just talking about this on Tuesday, was when you were in the neighborhood, I know for us, when we were in the neighborhood and somebody got to fight, if mama came outside, that person was getting a spanking and everybody around there was getting a spanking.
Yeah.
Because
not breaking it up.
you were for not breaking up the fight. And so this is a whole generation that don't even go outside to even fight.
Yeah.
You know, so
Yeah, they fight like this
Yes,
now.
they fight like on the tablets. Yeah.
Okay.
So I feel like that. I don't feel like that they are soft. I
Shots
feel
fired.
like that it's just a different culture.
Yeah.
You know, this culture.
Yeah, you're right.
We
I
talking
agree.
about medias, you know, football. Like, I remember my mom and them having to go to the school and recording me at the games and stuff.
Yeah.
Compared now, it's all media.
Yep.
You know, like, and these kids, they are, man, 16, 17 years old, 6'6", you know,
Yeah.
200 some pounds, you know. It's just a different culture that we are in,
I agree.
you know. And they, you know, we looking at 21-year-old kids and I'm looking up at them and I bet they could take me all day. It ain't nothing soft about these kids, you know. Like, it's just,
exactly.
it's just a different culture that we are in, you know.
Yeah.
So,
Man, I'm gonna tie what both y'all said, because I think, man, I talk about this a lot, and I was even speaking with someone earlier at the donut shop about this. Not y'all's generation. I consider myself y'all's generation. I think y'all are still millennials.
how old are
Yeah,
you?
we are.
23. So I won't ask y'all, but because once you get past the 20, now on camera, you know, y'all can tell me after. Y'all can tell me after.
Man, I'm 36. I'm gonna be 37.
See, yeah, you're young.
I'm gonna be 37.
You're young.
Yeah.
You're young.
You're what? You're 37
I'm
already.
37.
See, you're young
Oh,
too. I mean, that's what I'm saying.
Mhm.
But
Science,
I say this.
33.
Oh, see, you're
Yeah.
really young. Man. Okay, I didn't even want to ask, but thank you. Everyone bashes millennials or this new generation, whatever they call it.
Gen Z.
They're spoiled. They're entitled. They grew up with all these phones in their hands. Who raised them? Who raised them?
Mhm.
That's. I mean,
That's true. My
did
kids
they
got
raise
phones in their
themselves?
hands.
Yes, a lot of them did too. There's more single parent households than ever.
Yes.
You're trying to, like, I agree with Andre saying, you need to show them more grace. How many of these kids are raising themselves? Like, how many are going through this struggle? Like, single parent households, they're the man of the house. Like, and yeah, he's kind of arrogant. He's kind of, I mean, I would be too if I was
Yeah,
put in that
step
position.
up.
If I had to
Yeah.
step up at
I
12,
like that
13.
perspective.
And so I'm man, millennials hop on my back. I'll vouch for every single one of them. And I agree with you. They're spoiled, entitled brats because their parents give them everything. But that's not a generational thing. I also think, like Andre said, that's a parent thing.
Yeah.
And you're comparing apples to oranges because these kids also grew up where social media is like huge.
Yeah.
You can't do nothing without social media.
Yeah.
Like back then, even when I was a kid, I didn't even have a phone. Like I didn't get a phone till I was in high school.
Yeah.
And now you get one when you're in elementary school.
Yeah.
Recording everything you do is recorded.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I mean, I vouch. I don't think these kids are oversensitive. I just think like these environments that they grew up in made them certain ways. Like it's not a generational thing. And people love to bash millennials as a whole, but I'm just here to say like that's not the case. I don't think it's the case.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I was going to ask a question before I do. You
Yes, sir.
want to add anything to this?
So yeah, pretty much what he was saying. Like I guess it's really just not their fault. Like they can't do nothing about it. So I mean, you can't just judge them or bash them.
And you're talking about being parents.
Uh-huh.
Something that you do here is, I'm going to raise my kids not to see color. Is that a good or bad thing? To me personally, I feel like that's bad. They're like, oh, you just got to look at their heart. Well, no, like color makes everything beautiful. So does culture. Like I heard that this earlier, and I was like, I'm gonna use that on my podcast. Like culture and color make everything beautiful. That's what makes this world just go.
I agree.
You do hear people say like, oh no, you just need to raise them to see heart. What? Like no, I don't believe that. So I just want to know, what are y'all opinion on that? I know you don't have kids. Y'all don't have kids yet.
Yeah.
But I like hearing y'all talk. Too.
Yeah.
I'm absorbing what y'all are saying.
I feel like it's built on culture. Like I agree with what you're saying, because, and to touch on what Andre said, if you don't know the culture,
yes,
yeah,
you know what I'm saying.
Because I want to celebrate everybody's culture.
Yeah.
Like man, I've celebrated, with black people. I've been to China, dude. I love China. Like different. I want to know stuff like that. I'm willing to learn, and I feel like that's where maybe some parents don't. Is like, no, you just got to do it this way, and that's it. So then when they go out into the real world, it's over for them because they don't know what to think. Sorry, I wasn't trying to cut you off.
No, you good.
I used to battle for a long time, and I remember talking to Jeremy about it too. Like I said, like my kids, they are interracial, black and white. And I said, man, I want my kids to know culture, and I feel like Seminole doesn't have that much culture. I said, man, I'm just ready to move. I'm ready to move. And a good friend of mine back in Tulsa, he said, Andre, like the culture that we grew up with is going to be way different than the culture our kids grow up in. Like I remember growing up in school and celebrating Black History Month, celebrating, like Cinco de Mayo, like celebrate so many different cultures. And I just feel like that our kids, like I try to have my son watch Michael Jordan or something online, and he's just like, Dad, LeBron James, he's just like, culture is way different, and like, for me, I tell my wife all the time, like, yes, it's out in the future, but I want my kids to marry Asians. I want my kids to marry whites. Any race that's out, I want my family to be so diverse. I met my wife in Baltimore, Maryland, and Maryland and Tulsa, Oklahoma, is the most diverse, like, cities that's out there. Like, it was a blessing for me to see like an Asian with the Spanish, that blesses me, because I feel like that's how the world should be. Like, they shouldn't see yes, you see color at the end of the day, but it shouldn't be like, we had the cleaning guy come to our house. What is the carpet guy called?
The carpet guy.
Kirby.
Oh,
Kirby. Okay,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
Kirby came to our house, and we ripped off all the sheets on our bed, and he cleaned my wife's side of the bed, and then he cleaned my side of the bed. Then he was like, y'all look at this, threw it on our bed, and I'm like, that's dirty, and you throwing it on my bed. But he said, look, nobody can ever tell y'all that we don't bleed. We don't have two different colors of skin. Because when we shed skin, we shed the same color skin.
Dang.
That's right.
And I'm like, man, this guy, he's legit, you know?
I'm about to buy a Kirby.
Yeah. That's what I told him. I said, man, if that price went too high, I'd buy it.
There you still trying to cut him down. Man.
But, man, that's the truth, you know? Like, at the end of the day, we bleed the same color, and we shed the same color. So, like,
Dang, that's
to me, like,
grave, same size too.
yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That's good.
So,
I like that, man.
mm-hmm.
Dang it. We're going to go ahead and cut off. No, I know you had some questions too. Like, I know we just kind of we're going all sorts of ways,
yeah.
but it's all leading to the same thing anyway. But
Talking about Asian hate.
Yeah.
I saw multiple videos of this man. I don't know how old or nothing, but he was attacking this Asian grandma, like beating her up to the ground. And her face is all bleeding, and that's just crazy to me. Like,
Yeah.
it's so crazy when I saw that. I just wanted to cry almost. Like, it's just because we're Asian, you know, so we know.
yeah.
Kind of. So it just made me real sad.
But you know what's crazy though is that's
crazy.
always been around.
Yeah, it's always been
It's
around.
just like, I don't know
It's
which
like
one of y'all touched on that, but because of social media
Yeah.
now, everybody is exposed to it.
Yeah.
now.
Mhm.
Because I used to, coming into this, you know, when Jeremy texted me, I was at the gym and he's like, hey, you're going to be filling in or whatever.
Mhm.
I was like, man, I kind of felt like I didn't really have a perspective on the whole racism deal. Because, I mean, honestly, like the Hispanics, we kind of just been laying back in the cut for a long time. Like Asians, blacks, it's always, I mean, let's be honest, the media is always black and white.
Mhm.
You know, you guys barely been coming to the forefront, even though y'all been getting
Yeah.
hate
Yeah.
forever.
In a
Yeah,
way,
that's not
y'all have been in the cut, but in a way, y'all have not. Because being a man of a color, you are stereotyped no matter what.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
You know, like, do you feel like that you definitely would stand out, like, if you in a whole room full of, you know, like a different race?
Oh, for
That's,
sure.
you know,
For
like,
sure.
That's true.
to me, the Spanish culture, any person that's a person of color is stereotyped, no matter what. That's, you know, that's how I feel.
Yeah.
So it's not just, you know, I feel, to me, okay, this is how it was whenever I was in Alabama. In Alabama, it depends on what part of Alabama that you go to, but we were in Birmingham in a predominant white area in Hoover, Alabama. And every morning whenever I used to go to school, we rode on a city bus. To the bus that bussed us to school or whatever. And there's a street called Lorna Road in Hoover, Alabama. And that bus rode past that street every time, and all on the corner, I mean, blocks and blocks, it was all Spanish, waiting to get jobs. And for me, when I moved here, and I saw the Spanish culture succeeding and working in the oil field and like just making money, like it was a big blessing to me. It was like, man, my color folk doing it.
Yeah.
You know, like I love to see that, because there was tons of rude people that would go up, stop, act like they were picking them up, and keep pulling off.
Hey.
Like I grew up, it was all, if my mom didn't move us from Detroit, Michigan, I would have known nothing but blacks. But when she moved us to Alabama, and you know, we got around a lot of diversity, that was a big blessing for me, because my first friend was a white guy. He taught me how to swim. He taught me how to play baseball. My good friend named Israel, Spanish guy, taught me how to play football. taught me how to lower my shoulder when I was playing football. Like,
Yeah.
so they, culture is amazing. And to me, I feel like they were all stereotyped, even going to a predominant white school, was the people of color. And to me, I feel like that would never go anywhere unless love is displayed.
I never thought about it like that, but I like the way you put that. Man.
Yeah, that's true.
That's good.
Going back to like what you said, like your question, you said if we should see color at all. I think if I taught my kid that, I'm giving them a fixed mindset instead of a growth mindset.
Sir. Yes, sir.
Because I'm putting them in a box and telling them this is what you should see. No growth comes from that. You're putting them in a box.
That's good.
Right? I mean, like,
For sure.
I know the intentions. Yes, I can see why parents say that. But from what I'm saying is like, that is a fixed mindset versus a growth mindset. A growth mindset understands there are black, Asian, white
Yes, sir.
people, and you love all of them. Like, you're not just gonna, obviously black, Hispanic. I don't see y'all like that. I mean, that's ignorant. I think
That you completely
That's,
right.
Yeah.
I mean,
That is ignorant.
that's a fantasy world. Like,
Yes, sir.
if we're being honest. Man, I still love y'all no matter what y'all are, and that's a growth mindset. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna teach my kid. Well, and I'm not bashing any parent who does. I'm not a parent yet. I don't know the struggles, but I'm not gonna teach my kid that to have a fixed mindset in anything.
Yeah.
And that's a big thing. So
No, that's good.
Yeah.
And I think that fixed mindset.
Mhm.
I think that's kind of a thing that's dying out
I hope so.
because I feel like back, like with Big Mama and our grandmothers and grandfathers and your grandpa, it was kind of like that was the mindset.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's true.
But and at the same time, and you and I have touched on this, off camera, is that a lot of that comes from something that happened to them in their past. It's not necessarily we're black, we're gonna date black people. We're Mexicans, you're gonna date Mexicans. You're Asian. It's because at one point in time, one Mexican did something to your grandma, and ever since then, it's been. Man, some people just can't get over that. But I feel like going into the world nowadays, I feel like it's starting to separate from
Yes.
that, and it's becoming way more acceptable because, like you said, back then that was an odd thing to see with a black guy with a white girl, a white girl, or a white guy with a black girl. Even in the black community, because I had a black friend growing up. And they'd be like, "Oh man, he's going after the white girl, but we ain't good enough."
Yes, sir.
And,
Yes, sir.
But I feel like nowadays, even in the Hispanic culture, it's more like, as long as you're happy, I'm happy.
Yeah, I hear that.
Do whatever makes you happy. And back then, I feel like it wasn't like that. But at the same time, I feel like something had to have happened to one of our grandparents or our aunts or uncles that made them think that way.
Yeah.
I don't think it's something that's taught to somebody. It's something that's being done out of an action. Every action has a repercussion, and I feel like that was just a repercussion.
Okay.
But do you think that, people say that just so that they can make them feel better until it actually happens? Like, let's say me, like, I'm not racist or anything, but let's say I go and tell Ebony, hey, whatever makes you happy, go do it. I don't care who you date, whatever. She comes home, brings, black, Asian, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And I'm like, then now I get mad. So do you think parents are like that? Just not to say they're tricking their kids, but it's like, whatever makes you happy. And then they actually bring somebody home, and then it's like,
Oh,
I don't like that. Like, how is that? I don't know if that's ever happened. Like, I don't know. I mean,
feel like
that's a good
has
question.
I
happened.
feel like it has happened.
Because-
I think it has to.
I know an experience where that happened, and I mean, I don't know. I just, like you said, I think until you're put in that position,
Yes, like-
then it's really like, oh, wait a minute,
Because a lot
is
of
this
people,
really
yeah.
okay?
Yeah.
But I don't know. Going back to what I said earlier, I feel like a lot of that stuff comes from something that happened to them in their past. I don't feel like you don't just wake up and you're just like, I don't like Asian people.
Yeah.
Something had to have happened to somebody, and they kind of instilled that in your mind or planted that seed of, man, when I was growing up, I remember I got robbed by a black guy. And, ever since then, it just, but I feel like, and like I said, man, that's kind of one thing that I appreciate nowadays. Because, my kids, man, he's 11 and he's already talking to girls and they're calling him at 1 o'clock in the morning. And I'm like, oh, man. But, the thought never once crosses my mind to say, I'm sorry, Zayla.
And you had to throw him out.
Shout out my son, man. The thought never crosses my mind to say, I wonder if that's a white girl, or I wonder if that's a Mexican girl, or an Asian girl, or a black girl. I just feel like, and I'm glad that generational, whatever you want to call it, is starting to die off. Because I feel like that was a big crutch.
Oh, yeah.
I grew up in Denver City, and it was white, black, and Hispanic. Mostly Hispanic, a little bit of white, not that much black. But I feel like that was a thing back then. Like, yeah, it was acceptable, but it wasn't really acceptable. Like when you brought somebody home to your parents, they were kind of, you kind of get that eye.
Yeah.
Or nothing said. And, sometimes nothing being said is worse than something being said. So.
I know I heard a lot of families say, why would you don't divide up this household?
Yeah.
I know my dad said that. And that's just being honest. Like, why you want to divide up this this household? Number one, I'm not a part of your household. And number two, I'm a grown man. I make my own decisions.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I agree with you saying. It's something that was passed down from generation to generation, and now these days, I feel like, especially living in Seminole, there's just a lot of media. So when you have a lot of cultures that's out there, and you're living in a small, this is the crippleness of a small town. You have a lot of cultures that's out there, and you seeing all this stuff that's on TikTok, Facebook, and YouTube or whatever, and then you go to a bigger town, you say, let me stay away from that kind of people, And so you being a younger generation like us, and you seeing that stuff on TV, and then when your kids get older, you have in your mind, this is what I've seen on the media. Maybe I want to keep my kid away from that,
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I see that.
Yeah.
That's good. You were talking about when you saw that Asian lady get beat, and wanted to make you cry.
Yeah, that was really sad.
How did it make you feel when that happened to George Floyd? And the only reason why I asked that is because you're seeing your own race get beat. Now you're seeing somebody with a totally different race get beat.
I'm not gonna lie. I don't really know much about it. Like, I heard about it and everything.
Yeah.
I didn't
You didn't watch the video
it.
or nothing.
I haven't really, so I don't really know much. But it's still really sad.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty much the same as that Asian grandma getting beat up. I think it's still equally sad. I don't think one side's more sad than another.
Yeah.
They're both really sad.
And the only reason why I ask is because I know sometimes it being your own race, you can have more feelings towards that because it's
more compassion.
That's Mexican.
Yeah.
Like, the heck, like, and so that's why I asked you. I didn't know if you had seen it or not. And
It's a deep question, man.
yeah, like and I'll ask this too, like, and I wish Joey was here, and because we weren't here to bash him or we're not starting arguments here or anything, but
So he brings the law enforcement aspect.
yeah, and I was gonna ask this if he was here. Is like when a cop pulls you over, are you afraid of the cop?
That's a good question.
I'm not.
I'm not.
Even now with everything that's been happening.
Yeah.
Like, do they intimidate you at all?
No, not one bit.
I'm not. And so now, I want to hear everyone.
Yeah.
To me, I feel like it depends on where I'm at.
Okay, say
It depends on where I'm at, and it depends on who's with me, or if I'm by
it's
myself.
by yourself.
If I'm by myself, yes, sir.
Okay, now I'll ask you this because I'm glad somebody said yes. What if it was your own race? He was a cop and pulled you over. Then how would that make you feel? Would it make you feel more comfortable?
Yes,
And why is that though?
because you get security in your own race.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
That's
that's
true.
good. That's a good
Mhm.
answer. I like that.
And it's basically these days now off of social media. And you see everything that's going on. I know I spoke up at our church here in town, and I was telling the time with me and my wife, we were going to Oklahoma, and I stopped in a little town, and y'all probably went through this town before too. It's a town that's called Benjamin, and it's going towards Wichita.
Oh, okay.
Wichita Falls.
Okay.
So it's all back roads.
Yeah.
We stopped in this little town called Benjamin, and all that I see, of course, you know, being in a little town like that, only black guy, I'm pulling over, trying to go in the restroom, but in the back of my head, I'm just thinking, I'm like, I'd rather go to the restroom on the side of the road compared to going in the back of this old gas station, because you never know what's going to happen. You know, just being a black man, because you never know people. Yes, you know, I trust God, but at the end of the day, you never know people's motives. You know, you never know what they are thinking, what kind of day that they had, or how they were raised.
Yeah.
You know,
So what do you tell your kids?
I
Because
tell
they are biracial.
man. So you know, it's funny that you said that too, because
And hold on, before you go
Yeah.
on, because so your kids are in the age now, just like my kids,
Yeah.
where they're on, you know, they get on social media, they get
Yes.
on YouTube, so they see, you know, mostly negative stuff towards
Yes.
that. So, you know, I know that talk has to come up. Has it come up?
yes, the talk has came up. The talk actually came up a little bit last night, because my son, he's really into Michael Jackson, hardcore, like try to do the moonwalk in the house all day long.
Yeah.
And,
Wearing the shoes out.
Yes, yes, creasing them J's. I'm mad at him, man. Boy, I'm like, boy, I'm spending $100 on the J's, and you creasing them, son. But yeah, one question that he asked me, he said, Dad, why did Michael Jackson? Because he saw the Jackson 5. And so, and then he see Michael Jackson, said, Dad, why did he want to change his color? That's a deep question. I didn't know the answer.
Yeah.
And then the other question, you know, boys, they are real competitive. You know, we are all still competitive to this day. And so he loves, I'm not sure if y'all heard of Jesse Owens before. Jesse
That sounds
Owens.
familiar.
Jesse Owens was the first black track star in America that went to the Olympics.
Okay.
He ran in the Olympics when Hitler was real big and everything. And Hitler did not want to go shake his hand or anything.
It was back over there,
Yes,
wasn't
it was.
Right. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
And he still holds one of the top records in the 100-meter dash, 200 long jump. He was the first black male that was able to do that.
Okay.
And so he just seen, he was watching it on YouTube, because he's, you know, kids, they just want to soak up information.
Yeah.
And he said, Dad, why are they so mean to him because he's black? And, you know, I said, son, you know, I said, yes, you are black and white, but what's so sad is this world will see the dark in you before they see the white in you. And I told him, I said, you cannot control how other people act. I said, you know, because when I first moved to Seminole, me and Jamie were going Walmart, and I'm holding her hands, and we got eyes rolled at hardcore. So what I would do, grab her and I kiss her. Because what I want to do, I want to show people love.
Yeah.
And that's what I told my son. I said, people would treat you wrong sometimes. People would say mean things to you. But the best thing you can do is kill them in love. And so,
Yep.
Yes, we have had those talks with them. We had some friends before they moved off here in Seminole, and it was real funny because we were at their house for supper, and the kid, he's a white kid, and he asked Owen. He said, "Owen, are you adopted?" And he's looking at us. Number one, he didn't know what adopted was, and so he came home. Me and my wife watching TV. He said, "Mom and Dad, am I adopted?" I said, "Boy, if you adopted, get out my house, boy." I said, "Boy, I'm there for you." I said, "Boy, I'm your pappy, boy." And so I said, "No, son, and that was the beginning of all of the talks when he asked us that question. But yeah, we have had that talk a lot, with the youngest. So
Man, that's inspiring to me though, hearing a parent who has been what would you call
profile.
Yes, and like gone against that stuff, teach still, because you could take that with bitterness and be like, screw these cops, screw these people, and you could teach your kids that. But that's inspiring. I'm not even a parent yet, and I hope to be in the future, but hearing that there are great men like you teaching your kids, like, you still got to show them love. And and that goes back to what you're saying. This whole new generation just needs to be shown love and grace. So, man.
Yeah, because one thing I didn't share in that whenever I was speaking at the church was one day I was up on the hill. Everybody's dream, and I don't know if y'all do it, but I know I drive around and I look at houses. I get great ideas like, man, like, I can have this, Lord. Like I just dream. I'm a big dreamer, and so I'm up on the hill that they say in Seminole, and while I'm parked in the neighborhood, there's a cop that comes speeding right past me. And I'm looking on Zillow because one of the houses were for sale, and I'm just looking at it on my phone.
Yeah.
This cop came around and parked right in front of me. And I rolled down my window, and I could have been rude and did everything. My inside, the old Andre, wanted to be real rude.
Yeah.
Like, why you coming up to my car? But he said, this was his excuse. He said, "Sir, can I ask you, what are you doing in this area?" I said, "Sir, this house is on Zillow." And I'm showing him on my phone. I said, "I'm just looking at this house." He said, "Oh, okay." And then he was like, "Because I got," he said, "I only came up and wanted to question you because I heard that it was, we got a call that it was 3 black males breaking into houses in this area." Wow. And number one, I'm thinking, there's not even 3 black people in Seminole. And so I just said, okay, sir. And he was like, "And your car kind of meet the description." I said, "Well, sir, I have a car seat in the back. There's no way that these kids, 3, black people can fit in the car."
Yeah.
And he was like, "Okay." He was like, "Yeah, I'm just doing protocol." And I said, "Okay." And so he still asked for my ID, ran my ID, and he was like, "Oh, everything checked out good. Just have a good day and good luck on shopping for a house." Okay.
Here in Seminole. Man, that is.
So is that profiling, or do you just think that that's a coincidence?
I felt before you said that. I don't think that I ever felt like something like that would happen in Seminole, because it is such a small community, and like you said, there's only 4 or 5 black people here, and everybody knows them because they're the only 4 or 5 black people here.
Exactly.
But man, to hear that, it's really disappointing, man. I'm not gonna lie, it's really disappointing.
And that's the beginning of it.
Yeah.
And see, that's what I feel like
when you go to the courthouse and you walking through the courthouse to renew your license and you get followed in the courthouse, tell me what that is.
Dang.
Man.
Don't get me wrong. I love, and yes, I know this is going to be viral. I love Seminole. I love every part of Seminole. Nobody's going to run me out of Seminole.
Yeah.
But People are still stuck in their ways.
Yeah.
People
That's
are
sad.
still, it is. It's
That's
very
the ignorance.
sad.
Like he said,
Yeah, that's
Ignorance.
Yeah.
Like to me, I don't understand why a kid in Seminole, we got the principal called or whoever called my wife. My son had 2 little stripes in his head right here, designs, and he couldn't have that here in Seminole. He couldn't come back to school unless he got those out of his head. Why a kid can't express themselves while they're at school,
man,
even though it's just designs.
man.
Don't get me wrong, I love Seminole.
Yes.
I love, everything
Yeah.
that Seminole has to offer, but times are changing.
Yeah.
But people aren't.
That's true.
And that's what it sounds like to me.
Yeah.
Honestly, I never thought that something like that would happen here.
Mhm.
No, that happened to me when I first moved here.
Really?
I got pulled over. I was driving my car I was speeding in the school zone. I didn't know it was a.
Cut the tape.
I didn't know there was a school because I'm not from here. So this is kind of it's kind of whenever I was.
I didn't know they have blinking lights.
I'm not from here. I'm not from here. So I was just driving, It's over here by the draw, and I got pulled over, and usually for a speeding ticket, it's just like, hey, can I have you see your license and then
Yeah.
registration,
No, I pulled you over.
and then that's it.
Yeah.
Well, it went to where, hey, I need you to get out your car. Can I search your vehicle?
Oh.
Do you have any drugs in there? Can I search you for drugs? When was the last time you drank? When was the last time you did drugs? I'm like, golly, just for speeding? Like,
That's
speeding
crazy.
and that's this was kind of when I first moved here. After that, it hasn't happened since.
Okay.
But I mean, I was like, man, I ain't never had that happen to me before. So,
No.
but
That made me laugh too because me and Jamie, we were going down. I think we were on our way to San Antonio,
Uh-huh.
and we going to San Angelo. And if you don't slow down right there in San Angelo when you first pull it in, they go get you.
Oh.
So somehow
Always
that
a state
speed limit
trooper.
dropped real fast.
They're like,
Yes, and you don't even know. Yes,
Yeah.
and so we pulled the cop. I saw him swipe around, and he pulled me over. Like I didn't see the license at the last minute. I said, Jamie, I'm getting pulled over. She said, oh, for real? And I said, yeah. And so I pulled over, and the cop asked me for my license and stuff. He was like, okay, before I read your license, have you ever killed anybody?
What?
What in the world? Jamie started laughing so hard. I'm like, did he really just say that? Like, for real? For real?
I've
That's
never
crazy.
heard that.
Have you ever killed somebody?
Have you ever killed somebody
Just
before
like
I
that.
run your license?
First of all, like I'm gonna admit to.
Yeah. I chuckled and I said, no, sir. He said, okay.
Are you sure?
Yeah. Like,
That's crazy.
What?
and see,
Man.
and you do see now that what is it? The Blue Lives Matter.
Yeah.
And that kind of, I don't know why all that's starting, but it's like, and even defund the police.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that? Like, to me, that's making it seem like I don't agree with defunding the police.
no, sir. Not at all.
Like, I don't know why people would even want to start that, because there are some bad cops out there, but not all of them are bad.
Yeah.
It's
It's just like people.
and it's all about their heart. Just like you said, maybe something happened to them, and that's why they hate a certain race. Like, they don't like a certain race. And I know I'm just on and on, but I'm gonna ask this question too. Is I didn't see that Asian video about the
No, I
about
haven't
that
seen
woman,
it
the
either.
grandma.
I'm gonna look it up when I get
But I
it.
did-
There's a
but
lot
I-
of
haven't seen it.
yeah,
But I
there's
did
many.
see the George Floyd one. Now I'll ask y'all this: at any time when you saw that video, or even did y'all see the George Floyd video?
I saw the
did.
George Floyd one.
At any time when y'all saw those videos, did you be like, man, I need to pray for that officer?
I'm not,
I'll be
never thought
honest,
of that.
I did-
never-
I didn't.
I need to.
I'll be
I
honest,
need
I
to
didn't.
pray for them people that are beating up on that grandma.
Yeah.
Like,
No, I didn't. I'll be
Yeah.
honest.
and it's hard to think because of what's going on, but it's like, at any time did we ever even think like, man, there's something going on with that dude? Like, yes, he's doing something bad. We know that, but And I'm not sticking up for him at all. I'm just
Yes.
saying is like, man, did we ever think like we need to pray for that dude?
Ooh, that's such a. Before I forget, I just want to say like that's a huge thing that I've thought of. And the song by Hovey, he's a Christian rapper. I listen to Christian rap.
Yes, sir.
Back in the Wick, is that what you're talking about?
Oh, that's a good one.
Hey, Back in the Wick.
Yes,
So
sir.
he talks about like why do we pray for the homeless but not for the wicked?
Yes.
Mm.
And I was like,
Mm-hmm.
like, and I want to say I have a relationship with Christ and I consider myself Christian, but I feel like sometimes we pray for the homeless because that makes us feel good and that makes us look
Yeah.
like look at me, I'm praying for these homeless people.
Yeah.
No, and I asked my friends this, and this gets real sensitive. I'm sure y'all talk about it. The number one thing that everyone hates, like murderers, pedophiles, all these things, no one prays for them.
Mm-mm.
They say they
We wish
rot
bad
in
on
hell,
Yes.
rot in hell.
Yeah.
And Christians are the ones saying this.
Yes.
A homeless person who, hey, we gotta pray for them. We gotta give them blessing. We gotta give them blessing. Like they're not right in the head. We gotta give them. We gotta pray for them. These people aren't right in the head. They're pedophiles. They're murderers. We're not praying for them. So that I'm glad you said that. But even when I heard that song, it was after the George Floyd thing. But then I'm trying. Like recently, I've just been thinking, yeah, I need to pray for those people who are doing those evil things because no one's praying for them.
Mhm.
They're all they're needed the most. Like
Yes.
everyone's just cursing them, if anything.
Yeah, and you're right.
And
that
maybe
it's-
that's adding to
Yeah, that might be adding to that. Us Christians, I categorize us. I speak for myself because I've done it. We're cursing these people instead of.
and that's why
Oh, yeah.
and that's why people don't. Some people don't even want to go to church or don't even want anything to do with the Christians
We're
because
hypocrites.
exactly.
They think we're
Exactly. They see us do one thing in church, and then we're out doing something else. We're hating
Exactly.
on somebody, or
Yes.
bashing somebody, and that's like that question that I just asked. I had heard, and I was like, man, like that's so good because it made me think, like, just kind of what you were just saying. Like we want to go out. I love what you just said.
Yeah.
You know, we want to go out and pray for the homeless, but man, what about these people?
Yeah.
You know, like when we do that, we pray for the homeless, but then we bash the murderers. We're making it seem like, okay, Jesus didn't die for y'all.
Yeah.
That's
Exact-
it.
Yeah.
He only
Naming
died
them.
for us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that's it. So
Man, that's
Yeah.
big. right
Yeah,
there.
you're dropping balls. Hey. I'm gonna remember that.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
like that right there.
Man, that's a good. That's honestly the truth, though.
Yeah.
Because like, oh, these guys aren't even good enough to go to heaven. These guys are so bad they instantly deserve hell.
Automatic.
What did Christ not die to forgive our sins?
Yeah, exactly.
Everybody.
Everyone. Oh no, just these people. He
Mhm.
died for y'all.
Just us.
Hey,
Yeah,
what?
that's what I'm
saying. Just
What?
us.
Yeah, it's-
And I had to, and I will be honest. Yes, I've cursed those kind of people because I'm like, how could a human do that? How could someone do that? And I'm like, that guy doesn't, like, that guy deserves so and so, whatever.
Yeah.
But now I'm trying to by God's grace, I'm trying to think like, yeah, you got to pray for those people too.
Mhm.
That's
More,
deep,
if anything.
man.
Or if
Yeah.
anything,
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I know like it's easier said than done
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
it hasn't happened. Like if it's happened to me and they did that to my daughter or you know whatever,
Yes.
it's like, oh my gosh, like of course you're gonna be furious, you know.
Mhm.
But I want it like I know one of the questions I ask is like, what do you want your loved ones to be? Like, how do they want you to view you as when you're gone? Pretty much is, I want them to know is like, this dude loved. No matter who you were, no matter what you did in the past, like he loved and he accepted and he welcomed you into his life. Like that's what I want people to
That's
kind of
good.
yeah, that's true.
that's what I want to leave behind. So that is something I do work on. Is like, man, like I want to pray for these guys. Like I don't want them to feel like they're not accepted. Yeah, they may not accept the prayer. They may not push you away, but at least I mean, hey, I'm still gonna pray for you regardless.
Yeah.
Amen.
That's deep, man.
Yeah, for real. I love how you talk about that.
Yeah.
Like,
I love listening to you guys.
Kick it off with
Okay.
the love game, man. I mean, because the Bible does say, you know, you can have all these, but without love, you're nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
So, man, heck yeah.
that was awesome. I like listening and just talking about that.
But you know what though, man? And at the same time, us three are fathers, but and I don't know how these two feel, but listening to what you've been saying, man, you're gonna be a good dad someday.
Man, I hope so.
Like you
Hey,
talk
look in
about
the camera
you
and tell my
enjoy.
girlfriend that.
No,
She'll be watching.
You say you enjoy listening to
Oh
us
yeah,
talk,
yeah.
but man, I've been listening to what you've been saying, and I'm like,
Yeah.
this dude's gonna be a good dad. You really
Thank
are,
you.
man.
Thank
You
you,
really
man.
are.
Mm.
No, I appreciate it. It's honestly because like y'all may not, because y'all are humble dudes. Like I'm taking things y'all are saying. I'm like, dang, okay, I'm gonna do that.
Mhm.
I'm gonna, and I don't know if y'all had that. So I'm blessed that I have y'all in my life to look at, and I've had like father figures who've raised their kids great. I'm like, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do that.
And it's a
I'm
a
gonna do
plus that you have a great dad too.
Yeah,
A great
exactly,
example.
You already got that
Yeah.
good foundation.
Yes, sir.
Yes, and that's I want to be us to be. I don't in terms of success, as in having a great family. Prove to everyone that that's possible, even though we grew up in a single parent
Yes.
household. Even though like with all the struggles we went through and not seeing our moms. I mean, he was probably 2 or 3 when she
they
left.
divorced,
Yeah, we haven't seen her
remember
since.
it, really. Like,
I was 8
Wow.
and he was 2 or 3. And we haven't seen her to this day. How long is that? 15 years.
15 years.
So
I haven't seen him.
I want to just, if anyone's watching, like prove, yeah, that's possible.
Yeah.
I mean,
Of a dad doing it.
yes,
Single-
you hear a lot of single
Yeah.
moms,
And they
but
praise single moms.
and-
3 kids.
yeah, they praise
And
single
they ain't
mom,
taking
and
nothing away
yes,
from the single
they-
mom.
Yeah.
But one big thing is they also receive child support, like and we've never had that. So
Yeah,
my dad,
never had
and being from a foreign country, adds on top
No
of that.
English.
So I want to even anyone who can relate to that knows the struggle, and so they're not alone because like it's definitely possible.
Yeah, it's
Single
possible.
dads, man,
And
3 boys.
I
Shout
bet your
out.
dad was probably stereotyped a lot too.
Oh yeah,
Oh, yeah.
I remember one time. Now that
I
you
have
say
to-
that,
I have
like,
one.
it-
There you go.
Oh yeah, I want to hear this.
So
Oh, my
before the donut shop, we were just broke. I was
Yeah.
kind of talking about this in a
You mentioned it.
I'm wearing this chain. I mean, but this is cheap. Sterling silver, less than $50.
Sterling Platinum.
H&M, $5. Nah, but now we're good.
We good now.
I got the Fitbit. But when we grew up, he worked at 7-Elevens.
Walmart.
I don't even know how he supported us. Nowadays, I don't know how you support 3 kids and yourself working one of those jobs. So he has night stalker at Walmart, 7-Eleven. He was a stalker, all this stuff. But I remember, it's stupid. Like these guys went up to my dad while I was real little, and they just kept calling him Jackie Chan, and kept saying all this stuff to him. And I don't even think he understood what they were saying. They kept like saying. One time they threw something at him, like catch this, do something with it. Like Jackie Chan, do something with it. And I still, that's crazy to think. I was elementary school younger, and I still remember that. And so like y'all's kids, I mean, I don't have kids, they probably remember everything they see. And there have been multiple instances like that. And it's to fight through that, and it's still,
Yeah.
And that goes back to what I was saying earlier about something that's happened in the past.
Yeah.
See, that's something that you could have took that and said,
screw these
whoever,
guys. Yeah, screw these guys. I could
Exactly.
see that. Yeah, I could take that
because that's
bitterness.
honestly that's where racism begins. That's the
Yep.
seed of racism.
Yep, and I could have seen those people and been like, these people, all of them are bad.
Exactly.
And that happens.
Exactly.
That happens.
Exactly.
Or you could go the other way. And I also think that's because of Christ, where you're more loving. Like Andre was saying, you could kill them with kindness. You could go the other way. You see that stuff. I don't ever want to be like them. I don't ever want to hate like them. So, like y'all said, so.
Man.
Yeah, that's good.
You- what were you saying?
I was gonna say. So our uncle used to live with us too.
Yeah.
Yeah, we know. He knows, but
Yeah.
so it was our uncle, him, and then us three kids. And
Yeah.
my dad told me, so they had to drive an hour to work. They wake up 12 in the morning, drive an hour.
Yeah.
So that's 1 o'clock there. And
Oh, no.
it was a donut shop. They did a donut
They're
shop.
working under
Oh,
someone.
under
So
someone.
you're not even.
getting paid that
Yeah.
much.
Wow.
And he said there's days he'd just cry driving
Yeah.
because that's how hard it was. And when he told me, I was like, man, that just
Yeah.
hurt. Like,
you know,
That's how hard it was. It was just
Yeah, but what can
so
you
hard.
do?
You can't. You just
What
gotta
can you
push
do?
through, and he did it. So.
Yeah.
So.
I know, man, and you look at you guys right now. Just like he said, love listening to hear what y'all had to say because, dude, y'all are very respectful.
Oh, yes,
You know,
sir.
you hold your heads up high, and not to say that you're cocky or anything, but man, you just know who you are. You know, I feel like you know your identity in Christ. You know,
Yes, sir.
and I love that about you guys, man. Like, I don't think I've ever even. Well, I'm not around you enough, but I've never heard you. I've never heard you complain. I've never heard you argue or get.
I do. Don't get me wrong. I do. I do.
Everyone does.
Yeah, but I mean, even seeing y'all at the donut shop, you know, y'all as a family that are working together, like, dude, that's a hard thing to do too, is work
Yeah.
with family, and to see y'all working, being successful, dude,
Yeah.
that's awesome, man.
It doesn't even feel like work to me sometimes. 'cause
Yeah. It's a huge blessing.
It's
Like,
not, man.
yes,
Blessing,
it's,
You're with your family.
yeah, it
My
sucks sometimes because I'm not a morning person. He kind of is.
Yeah, I used to go at 1 a.m. with my
Yeah.
dad. Like,
Man.
that's how
Even now we'll
serious
wake
it
up
was.
early, and
Mhm.
but it's a blessing because we still. This is the best position we have been in. Like
Mhm.
I'd rather this than my dad's working at Walmart stocking, having to support 3 boys. You know, like
But it's the best because you saw from where it was.
yeah,
to
that's
where
what
it's
made
at
it so
now.
great.
It's so
I
great.
mean, if we started off
Good, it wouldn't be.
It wouldn't.
Mhm.
The
Yeah.
top wouldn't feel as good. Like
Yeah.
I'm not saying we're at the top.
Yeah.
Like, we're not there yet, but it's a lot better when you started. So he told me that recently. I didn't even know that.
Brian,
I
my dad
remember
barely
though
told
because
me.
we lived in the suburbs of Dallas. In like the Plano area, they would have
That's
drive
a good
to
area,
Arlington.
too.
Yeah, Plano was good.
Yeah,
I like playing.
Plano,
They-
yeah.
They, I think they drive to Arlington, and I
Mhm.
never knew that till he told me that like a few weeks ago. My dad would be crying or whatever because I can't imagine that.
Mm.
And y'all as parents, y'all would probably do anything for y'all's kids
Right.
to push
Anything.
through that stuff.
Yeah,
So that's why I'm like, that's something.
Our brother, I mean, I don't know if we want to say it, but our oldest brother, he wasn't going the right path, so it was even harder.
I talked a little.
Oh yeah, he
Told
mentioned
you
that a
about
little
that.
bit,
But yeah, that's a lot of stress too. I mean,
Oh,
not
yeah,
seeing
definitely.
my brother.
Yeah, but I also understand why he went the way he did. So I
Yeah.
can't like hate
Can't
on
judge
him
him, yeah.
saying, or judge him.
Yeah.
But that's even more stressing. We weren't perfect either.
Yeah.
That's
No,
big though.
Yeah.
That's big because your dad planted that seed a lot.
Yeah.
Even though y'all didn't know that that's what he was doing.
Yeah.
Because like you said, you never even heard that story. You
Yeah, I
never
never
heard
knew
it
until a
until you
couple
were
weeks
told.
ago.
Yes.
So
Crazy.
that just lets you know the love that he had for y'all.
Yeah.
He
you
would
know.
cry on his way to work
Yeah.
because
That's
he
crazy.
wanted to
Crazy.
provide for y'all.
Yeah, and
That's
I believe y'all three would do the same for y'all's
Yeah.
kids.
Yeah,
yeah.
Like I mean, y'all go.
I wouldn't drive no hour.
Hey, y'all hear that? Whoever his kids are. Hey,
I drive like 30 minutes.
We haven't talked to you.
hey, cut it.
Because hour
Edit it
back
out.
too.
Jesus' name.
Yeah, because
That's
it's
2
a,
hours.
it's an hour back too.
Dude, yeah, no.
That's 2 hours.
No,
Man.
yeah. I mean, dude, and I'm not trying to outshine nobody. And
Yeah.
this by no means even compares to
No,
what your dad
no,
did for y'all.
you go ahead.
But I used to drive to Cayenosa, 2 hours there, 2 hours back to go to
Ooh.
work for my family. So,
Yeah, bro.
like I
You're
I
willing
understand the struggle.
Yeah,
and
because
it
you
wasn't
were
that big a struggle like what your dad went through. But I mean, there was mornings when I'd wake up and I'd just be like, man, it's tough, man.
Yeah.
But you know, as a parent, you got to do whatever for your kids.
Yeah.
You got to do whatever for your kids.
So now that you guys are leaving, like, how does that make you feel leaving your dad? I mean, I know your brother's there,
Yes.
Oh,
but
yeah.
you're leaving sooner. You're Monday,
Yeah.
and then you're
I got
leaving
a
later
couple
on.
months, yeah.
So, like, how does that make you feel? And I don't know, like, how does that make your dad feel? I don't know if you've talked to your dad about that.
It's
I know
gotta be
he's
tough.
sad. I already know he's sad.
He's sad.
As much he gives me such a hard time. The hardest time of anyone in our family.
He plays around with you. A lot.
He gives me a hard time, but I know he'll miss me. He's probably gonna watch. I know he's gonna miss me because I'm energetic. I mess around with him,
Mhm.
but I just see it as a stepping stone that, like Andre said early, I'm breaking that mold. I'll be the first one with a bachelor's, which I got in December. Then with a doctorate, then I could.
Yeah.
He's gonna be proud of my grandkids and where I could provide for them. They'll never have to experience what we went through, my dad went through, And like Andre said, I'm gonna give my kids some Nike Jordans. Not
Yes, sir.
you can't crease them. And it's gonna be a blessing.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
like some kids think it's spoiled, but like what he got.
The Jordan
he's
ones.
wearing.
Yeah.
No, not the creases.
Not the Yeezys. You don't want Yeezys. You don't want Yeezys. You want Jordans.
I bought these at Payless before they closed Payless.
Yeah.
Oh, those are and ones.
Damn,
And I don't say that in like a bragging way. I say it in like, yes, like Andre said, that's a huge blessing. And I want to tell everyone that it's possible. You would not think someone like that would be able to even go to college or like go further education or do stuff like that. It's possible.
Yeah.
And like, you just gotta,
It's that love factor, like Jeremy said.
And
It all
I
starts
give a
with
lot of
love.
credit to my dad. Don't get me wrong, but I
All the
also grew up
credit.
in the church. Like I had people like y'all who like I said in the podcast, gave us clothes, fed us, gave us a place to sleep. That's big. You remember that as a kid.
Yeah.
And you would not think that the Spanish, not the Spanish, but the Asian culture, will have to go through that.
That's not. People think a
Mm.
lot of people kind of
So-
categorize Asians with the whites.
Yeah.
And from what I see,
Mhm.
they like you don't know anything about being broke. Like I've heard, someone told me that because I was singing this song by Lecrae. It's called "Broke," and you're like, being broke don't make you rich. So I forgot how it goes, but someone said, man, you don't even know what it's like to be broke. It's kind of like a trend nowadays.
Yeah.
I was more broke than you. I grew up so and so, and they don't believe Asian people go through that. And I'm like, honestly,
That ain't nothing I'll try to brag about.
but all glory to God because that's a miracle. You look at it from start to finish. It's not finished yet, but like
You're
the
meant to
process.
fail.
Yeah, exactly.
It happened
And
for a
we could have
reason.
made every excuse, and I'm not saying I don't. You said you don't hear me complaining, as I do. Don't get me wrong, but we could have all just quit. My dad could have just.
could've
This
quit
is too
easily.
hard. He had every right to say this is too hard.
Yeah, he did. For sure, he earned that.
And
So much.
exactly. And if there's anyone that I could say I would give leeway to quit, it'd be him, but he didn't. So then that just shows to anyone else, you can do it. It's possible. And then he instilled that in us. So
It makes us work hard.
yeah.
It's
And
And
then-
it shows too, man. It really does.
yeah, it
really
changes
does.
our
It
generation.
changes our lives.
Our kids are our kids.
Oh,
That's what, like, going back to what you said, us leaving, we're setting up, and I know my dad wants our kids to never go through what all of us did, and so that's what he knows it's a necessity for us to leave and go on to greater things and stuff
That's
like that.
good.
Yeah.
So.
Is there anything that you would tell your dad that you couldn't tell him face to face before you leave?
I'm gonna see him again.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
It's gonna be tough.
Yeah.
You know, because y'all been there for him,
Yeah.
just like he was there for y'all.
Yeah.
Y'all been helping him this whole time with the donut shop and whatnot.
Yeah.
So
Man, I don't know. I'd have to think about that.
Yeah, I have to think about that.
There's nothing
stay
that's
tuned
cool.
for part 2.
Well, you moved to San Antonio, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we
I'm
traveling.
moving.
We traveling
All
there.
right.
San
Hey,
Antonio.
no hoes come to you.
San Antonio.
I'll see you.
Hey.
You have different scenery.
Yes,
You go to
sir.
As long as we can go down to the Riverwalk.
Hey, all right.
That's where we'll do a
Hey, we can
podcast.
do it at
That's where we'll do a
Riverwalk.
podcast.
That'll
On
be
the bridge
cool.
where Selena was. On the bridge where
You'll
Selena
pay
was.
for gas, parking, food. No, but honestly, yeah, that's a huge blessing in itself, going to San Antonio. Because I didn't know where I was heading. Just even a year ago, I was freaking out where I'd end up, but I was like, wherever God wants me to go, I'm gonna go. But so that's a blessing in itself.
It's crazy we're both going. Like I feel
Yeah.
like it happened
Even
for
a few
reason.
months ago,
like,
we didn't know
It's crazy.
where we're
Everything's
going.
I know. So
falling
how
into place.
does that make you feel, man? Like
I feel like
because
Yes, sir.
you're the youngest,
I know.
you know, and
Man, you're 18.
18.
Justin's
He's young
18
and-
a couple
he's
months
young.
ago.
He's a big 18.
Yeah.
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 Hey,
It's
like
like that
you
age.
said, man, they
Yeah.
make them different now.
They do make a way different now.
18-year-olds be 6'1" now.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir. Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
Oh yeah, what was it?
yeah, like how does that make you feel? You know, now you're leaving your dad.
Mm.
You know, so how does that make you feel?
It is kind of sad because I've always been there for him, and he's been there for me. So it is kind of hard. It's gonna be hard. I know it is, but like he told me, you have to do what you have to do. I mean, it's just the next chapter in both of our lives. And I'm excited, but it's gonna be hard. But I love him though, because he gives me advice. Like we'll be driving in the car after work, and he just gives me advice on life, and that's how I know he really cares for me. And it's just like, yeah, it truly means a lot. Like it's crazy. Like,
and that's good that you notice that it's advice, because you talk to some teenagers now and they're like, why are you always trying to lecture me? Well, it's not lecture. Like, I'm trying to give you some advice, and I love that you said that, because like you didn't even call it a lecture. You're just like, man, he just gives me advice, and I accept it. You don't push it away. It's like, okay, Dad, I'm gonna listen to you, dude. That's so awesome.
He talks good about him. Like it's just me and him, and he talks good about him.
Yeah, but to my face, he can't let me get paid. He can't let me. It's like the coach. Hey, this guy's good. His face, you're so bad. Did you see you mess up on this play? It's so you don't get a big head. And I understand he does that. He probably thinks I don't, but I see it. But yeah, he loves all of us. I mean,
so much.
And he doesn't want us. What I understand, he does not want us when we're in our 50s working at the donut shop. What did all his work go for then? Unless we truly have a passion for the donut shop. But like, why did he go through all that if we're gonna have to end up like putting our kids to the same thing? Like, we didn't break the generational.
Better life.
Yeah, we didn't break the what's it called?
His mission wouldn't be complete.
That's how I feel. So his success depends on my success or our success as well, and that's what drives me, because I feel like I have a family on my back, and I'm like, I'm motivated because of other people, not my own selfish desires.
I like that.
So I feel like you're walking in your dad's shoes right now.
Oh yeah, I mean,
because I feel like that's where his motivation was coming from.
Oh yeah, that's
Not
great.
from his
That's a
side.
cycle.
It's not
That's
a
a
bad
cycle.
cycle to
That's
be
got
in.
some danger.
Yeah, that's like.
Wow.
What were you saying?
I said, I just got deja vu, bro.
Oh, bro.
I was looking at y'all and I was like, have I been here before?
We have. Oh, that's funny. Yeah.
Sorry, yeah.
You're good.
You said yes.
So like, it was hard for me because I'm the youngest, and I feel like I helped him a ton. So there was days like, I would go to sleep, get a call at 1 a.m, and I would have to show up. Like, it's because I had no choice, because like my mom and my dad were like kind of on and off, so it's hard. And she would go on vacation or she would leave. So like, I just had to go, because like I was the only one that knew how to do most of the stuff. And like Prince, I mean, he helps, but like he can't really do the back stuff. Yeah,
He won't say, I won't.
I mean, he helps a lot, but you know,
He won't do it.
Yeah, I won't. I mean,
it was tough. Like there was days, but like when he called me, like it didn't feel like work. Like I said earlier, because like he's done so much for me, so it's like I have to do this for him at least. It's the least I could do for him.
Yeah.
So it doesn't even feel like work.
Yeah.
You know, so it's just. So yeah, it was awesome. I mean, it was tough, but I think it's a good thing.
Oh yeah,
Real
dude,
good
and you
thing.
can definitely tell like your work ethic. You
Yeah, it
know,
builds,
it builds. You know, and builds, and you may not see that now, or you may not even saw that back then. You know, and just but to see where you're at now, it's like it's made you a better person.
Oh yeah,
You know, respect for sure, different things, and I love that, man. Like,
a lot of my friends are like, man, you go to donut shop at 1 a.m. sometimes. They think I'm like crazy.
Yeah, that sounds
like,
crazy.
all they do
Y'all
is
probably think
They stay up till 1, you know, and do whatever they want.
Yeah, that's
You know how they are, teenagers.
Yeah.
But that puts you ahead in life, though.
Yeah, but I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. And what are you going to school for?
Oh, it's a culinary school, so like there's a lot of pathways. Like people just think it's like just to be a chef, but it's not. There's a lot of other things.
Nice.
It's only a 2-year school, so I'm excited.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll come in your restaurant.
Yeah, hopefully. Yeah, y'all try it out. Whatever he does.
Yeah.
Yes,
I'm
sir.
definitely gonna be following you boys, man. I ain't gonna lie, just in the short time that I've met y'all, and Man, it's been a pleasure. It really
Yeah,
has.
no,
sir.
vice versa,
And
man.
big
Oh,
ups
yeah.
to your dad for real. Like,
Yeah.
Yes.
man, you really did a good job with these boys.
You need to go tell him in person.
Yeah, hey,
He's
man,
gonna watch this.
sorry.
I'm gonna tell
I'm gonna-
him.
Yeah,
Donuts,
bro, he
man.
watches.
He's gonna watch
And he
this.
watches every video. I'm not even gonna lie. He watches more than me, and I was on it. But like, he
Man.
watches every single one.
That's
That's
awesome,
awesome.
man. I'm gonna have to go tell him thank you.
Yeah. So like, honestly, like when y'all walk in, y'all see me sitting down with the customers. I love talking to them. If he's ever there and it's not busy, he'll sit down and talk with y'all.
He's right.
He really will.
I see him talking to Johnny B. all
Johnny
the
B,
time.
yeah,
Johnny B,
I love
yeah,
Johnny
he's
B.
popular.
Johnny B,
Yeah.
everyone loves Johnny B.
Yeah.
He comes in every day.
Every day.
We love Johnny B. Yeah, because his house is right next to our donut
Yes,
shop.
he walks.
Yeah, he walks to our donut shop.
It's a nice
he's
house.
Yeah, he's awesome.
Yeah.
Nice.
So if y'all if any of y'all ever want to, at
Yeah.
first I don't know how. I mean, he knows you, and he's seen both of y'all, but I don't. I'm sure he'd be willing to sit down and talk with y'all.
Yeah.
He does with a lot of other customers. So
Oh, that's
Yes,
awesome.
sir.
Dude,
Man,
man.
this is awesome.
This
Some
went,
good stuff
this went
right
good.
here.
Dude,
Yeah.
I ain't gonna lie, bro. I was so nervous
really,
about, I called Gil. I
He
was like,
was.
hey, dude was like, I don't even know what to say. Like, I have no questions. And I it's like, I don't know how this is gonna plan out. Like, I was literally nervous, man. But, then I know when I got home, my wife was like, did you pray? Did you pray? And then I was telling y'all, like,
Yeah.
and you're like, man, we can pray right now. And, but no, like, Holy Spirit just led this thing, and it
Yeah.
just went so smooth. Like,
It really did.
yeah, it did.
Yeah,
I'm
it
felt
really
great.
did.
Everything
Good
we
talk,
talked-
man.
Yeah, and
Yes, sir.
like you kept saying, yeah, you like what we said, but man, for real, like we're absorbing him at such a. I mean, I'm not much older. We're absorbing everything y'all
Yeah,
are saying. Again, I'm glad y'all's perspectives, and even the short time I've known y'all, I mean,
and
we've
it,
learned so much.
it'll help because I didn't think about it until after we started talking about it. But different races, marrying different races, like
Yeah.
you're
Yeah, that's so
you're-
funny. Andre doesn't even know.
Yeah,
My
you're-
girlfriend's
oh, yeah.
Hispanic.
Mexican.
Yeah. That's what I was like, yeah.
Yeah, his girlfriend's Mexican, you know.
Yeah,
so-
that's one thing my dad does not like because it's a culture. I don't know if y'all know this.
Yeah.
I told Jeremy, but
Yeah,
yeah,
I think I remember hearing
yeah,
that on
he
the
said
podcast.
I'd rather marry a Korean girl so it'd be easier for him also and stuff. But I'm
Yeah.
like, number one, this ain't your house.
I think that-
I'm sorry, Dad. I'm
still
sorry,
living with
Dad.
him. Number two, I'm a grown man.
Yes,
From
sir.
Andre Campbell. He said it. Andre Campbell said it. Andre
You
said
got a room in my house.
yeah, there
I
you
tell
go.
myself, get up out that room.
Those are the two rules. No, but we'd have to agree to disagree, and I'll do everything for him. Yes, but like this is,
That's my life.
yeah, he's not marrying her, and I mean like,
Yeah.
you know, I don't know how to explain it, but like, this is the girl I'm gonna marry.
It's just
so.
like he said, breaking that was a
Man,
generational
that's-
curse. I guess that would be a
Yeah.
generational
Yeah.
curse,
Yeah,
right? Like
that's a
you-
fixed mindset, in my
Yeah.
opinion.
I don't know why that
In my
just
opinion.
blesses me so
Yeah.
much, man. Like that just
Yeah.
did something to my heart. Like that is, I don't know, man. I
Yeah.
love it so much. Like I feel like a big part of my calling in my life
Uh-huh.
is to share that to people. You know,
That's great.
like
That's great.
man, like just to hear that, like it almost makes me emotional. Like
Yeah.
just to hear that, like, cause man, that's
It's okay to cry. huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's how it.
I feel like he
My
been
bad,
trying
I
to
came
make
back.
you
Yeah.
been crying.
Yeah, I almost cried. Like, my eyes were watering. I'm like,
You
I wasn't trying to make you even cry.
with those good questions.
I was just.
Good
I want,
I'm
question.
seeing him and his eyes are red, and I'm like,
I want him to.
I'm choking it back too. I'm like,
Because when I see someone cry, I'll start crying too.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll
Almost got to the soul. You're interrupting.
yeah. You get that lip quiver.
Oh, well, that's that. That's that.
That's that real good
or
stuff.
the voice cracking.
Hey, but there's never been anybody on the podcast, has there?
That's
Not that
cried?
I've seen.
Oh, who's cried? I'll be the first. No, I'm just playing.
Break them up.
I'm playing. But back to what you're saying, Andre. Yeah, dude. Even the short time I've known you, you like have an aura of like kindness and love. Like I don't even know how to say it. Just from hearing you speak,
Yeah.
I could tell you're all about like you're advocate for love. Like I don't know how to
Yes,
even
sir.
explain
Yeah.
it. It's
I appreciate
crazy,
that,
man.
man.
No, for real. I noticed it like
Mhm.
right away. I was like, dang, this guy's got a good vibe about him.
Yeah.
For real, he loves everyone.
Vibing.
He
Vibe.
loves everyone.
Vibing. There you go.
Yeah, and I want to emulate that too. So yeah, I'm gonna start stealing your swagger. So loving everyone.
Yes, sir.
Mhm.
Yes, sir.
Man, that's awesome, guys.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
I appreciate y'all, man,
Mhm.
for joining. It was good talk, table talk.
Yeah.
Thanks for
I
having
do want
us.
to do this more often, where I just have different people come up here. So,
Mhm.
if you did watch it all the way to the end or listen, let me know what you thought, because I do want to continue to do this for sure.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Anything else you want to add before we close this out?
I just thought when you just said that, I think your title need to be called Street Talk.
Street talk.
Street talk.
I like that.
Okay.
Okay.
But with the C, street talk.
Street talk.
Street talk.
I like that street
Okay.
talk, because I mean, yeah, that's
Yeah.
man, I love that.
Okay. Yeah.
good.
Talk about some good stuff.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Mhm.
This is powerful stuff right here.
It was.
Yeah, I'll
It
remember.
really is. You know, like I said earlier, everybody's got a story, but
Mhm.
I feel like these point of views that were talked about today, that's big stuff, man. That's
Yeah.
real big stuff.
Yeah.
Hopefully, it'll touch a lot of hearts.
We
Yeah, I
got
hope
we
so.
got Prince on here. You know, it's gonna reach a lot of people.
Oh,
We know he got that
no.
following.
He's famous.
I want to expose y'all because I mean y'all the ones doing everything.
Yeah.
I didn't do anything.
Oh, you did everything,
I
man.
just showed up.
You just showed up and you showed out, and that was awesome.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah, man. Thank y'all for having us. I mean,
Yeah. I enjoyed it.
yeah.
I
This
know you
is
got
awesome.
all
was
faded
fun.
up too.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Boy,
Yeah.
days ago, so
Yeah.
good
I
like
should
that.
have too, but it's all right.
But no, man, I appreciate every single one of y'all, man. Y'all
Yeah.
are awesome. Y'all, like, man, impacted my life for sure. Like,
Yes,
y'all,
sir.
every single one of y'all, man. And I guess that's it. None of y'all, everybody good?
Yes, sir.
Everybody good?
Good.
Man, I kind of like what you said earlier
You
about
what?
that whole praying thing before.
About
Why
the,
don't you close us out in prayer?
Oh yeah.
Oh, why-
Okay.
oh, you want the host to do it?
I
Oh,
do.
yeah.
Because-
I mean, you're the
Because
host.
I know, I know,
I mean,
I
I
know
did
Prince was
offer.
gonna do it. He
I
did offer
did
to pray
offer.
for me.
Close it out.
Uh,
Close it out with a prayer. Or
All
you
right.
want to close it out? Say what you gotta say, and we'll let him pray.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. We
No, we'll let him pray and then I'll close it
you-
out.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Dear Lord, thank you for this day. I want to thank you again for all these great people that you introduced in my life. Even the people behind the scenes the camera doesn't see, thank you for them and just how awesome they are. I want to thank you again for just letting us gather here and speak upon things that I feel like should be spoken upon and giving us the vulnerability to speak on these things which are considered sensitive topics at times. So, Lord, thank you again for everything that you've done in my life and these guys' lives. I pray that you watch over all of them, watch over me, put your hand over me and everyone in this room. Keep us on the right path. Allow us to pray for the wicked. Allow us to pray for the people that we consider evil.
Amen.
You know, and I pray that you allow us to be leaders, like Andre said, a lifelong leader. I pray that you, in our faith, in our household, out on the streets, I pray that you just watch over all of us. Allow us to be your hands and feet, and allow this podcast, this episode, to really speak to others, and if they ever have any troubles or any questions to ask or seek out any of us, and give us the wisdom to lead them in the right direction. And so thank you again for everything that you've done for us, and I appreciate everything, Lord. You're really the greatest. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen. Amen.
Yes, sir.
Good stuff, man.
Yes, sir. Well, that's all I got for today. That's all we got for today. But until next time, we are out. Peace. What's up, everyone? Thank you for watching. Go ahead and go subscribe to my YouTube channel for new content. Also, go to social media and go follow me on there. And don't forget, follow. Peace.